Huddle up, Normies. It's time for us to take a look at the world of football. That's right, Normies. We're talking America's favorite sports ball and where it lands on the cultural spectrum of niche to normie. So let's lace up, put on your helmet, check the concussion protocol, and get ready for some football.
Are you ready for some football?
Looking in trouble. He's sacked. And he lost the football.
From 60 yards out, the kick is good.
Heading for the goal line. He's in. Touchdown.
What's up, Normies?
Heyo, bad boys.
It's not when you get introduced.
That's right. Well, as you just heard, spoiler alert, we are joined today to talk about football by special guest Jacob and also Cole himself, Cole Pisano.
Heyo. Hey, guys.
Hey, and this is Mike.
Here.
Joe. This is Colin.
That's right. And so we're out here to talk football. So, everyone knows that it exists and it's a thing. It's on the TV every Sunday for large parts of the year.
We got a very nice Bengals preseason game rolling right now.
That's right. Now, as of recording this, we just finished our own personal draft. So I want to ask everybody real quick, who's your team? What's your football background, right? What's your team? Let's go around real quick. Let's start with the guest. Cole.
We're talking like
Your real life team.
Real
Which
life
team do you
team.
follow? Yep.
I follow the Cleveland Browns.
Get right up on that bad boy.
My background in terms of Cleveland Browns. My dad grew up in Northern Ohio. His entire family was Cleveland Brown fans. And when I became a fan of football, it's kind of who I started following.
Nice. Makes sense. I think that's going to be a common theme, like kind of who you grew up watching. Let's go.
Who'd
now
your parents
to,
watch?
Yeah, exactly. Jacob.
I'm a Cleveland Browns as well.
It feels like
From Ohio.
some kind of meeting.
And I'm more of it through my mom's side of the family because my mom grew up in Cleveland. And so I'm a big Cleveland sports fan, Cleveland Cavs, Cleveland Browns.
Those aren't football teams. Well, Cavs aren't.
Yeah, just the Cavs and Browns. I don't really follow baseball.
That's right. Well, let me round it out then as the third Browns fan in the room. Same thing. Grew up with my family, all in there. My grandmother, my mother, watching them lose and getting frustrated all through many years of hardship. So I'm ride or die. Let's go Brownies.
Ride
but
or
it's not all Browns fans here on the cast. So let's kick it over to Colin.
No, that's right. We've got a Southern Ohio fan, too. That's the new team, Cincinnati Bengals. Ooh. I grew up in Cincinnati. My family, not incredibly into football. My mom says that when she met my stepdad that her sports knowledge reawakened, but really that was more towards the Reds. In high school, it really didn't mean much. I unfortunately grew up in the Carson Palmer, everybody's going to jail period of the Bengals history.
Isn't that every year?
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Third team as far as highest number of felons.
Wow.
You got my favorite player, Adam Jones, the Pac-Man, who unfortunately has been arrested 10 times.
What about
I believe,
Vontaze
with
Burfict?
the Bengals. Yeah, and Vontaze
Your second
too.
favorite player?
Yeah, exactly. Dirtier the better when it comes to the Bengals. So that's kind of my history with the bad boys.
Because they're from the dirty south of Ohio.
Yeah, seems like.
Nasty natty.
All right.
Well, we're not all Ohio fans.
Not all Ohio
either.
fans
No,
either,
thank
right?
God.
Coming from Jersey, I am a New York Football Giants fan. Always been a fan of the team from my dad's side, I guess, if we're going family-based. There were season tickets in the family, so as a kid, I was lucky enough to go to games and stuff. So basically been a Giants fan my whole life.
Well,
Nice.
let me just hit it out to general. What do you guys like about football?
Oh, it's easy to snack while you watch it because there's so many replays and stuff. Like you can go grab a beer and you're like, fine, you're not going to miss
Yeah.
anything. There's a lot of downtime, but I think it's the stakes. Every play matters. Every game matters. That's what makes it exciting because baseball and basketball, they have a ton of games. Even their finals is like a series. So I think every week, every play, every game matters. There's stakes to it, and that makes it exciting.
It's event television. Everybody watches it and talks about the game.
Yeah. For me, I like it mainly because of the fantasy aspect, and also I like the strategy of like calling plays and stuff. And like,
So when we talk niche to normie, you're talking the niche side. That's definitely where that leans into.
well, fantasy football is actually more popular than ever now. Like, I think it's really gained a lot of popularity just in the last decade, mainly. And it's just like a huge thing now. And it's also a reason why the NFL ratings are doing so well is because a lot of people only watch games for fantasy reasons. you
Yeah,
know?
they're getting that niche gambling addict market.
Well, speaking of that, then let me ask, everyone, what about football is niche and what about it is normie? Because for me, I feel like now it's easier for me to talk to a random person about Infinity War than about football. Is that weird feeling? I don't know.
Yeah, it is a weird feeling.
Now, Cole Jacob, do you have any feelings on his football become more niche or more normie lately?
I think it depends on your social circle. Because I have a lot of friends that don't follow sports at all, but then a lot of friends that do.
I guess
True.
that's fair.
I think we live in LA where it's maybe not as popular as like maybe like sort of like middle America where it's
Not as popular. A place that had 3 teams last year.
Yeah, but nobody really even wants the Chargers here.
It's a lot of transplants in LA, so there's no like
Yeah.
single hometown
No,
team.
yeah, you don't wanna
pride,
call it
right?
a lot of
your
people
team.
follow their own teams and move here.
Yeah.
LA's favorite team, the Raiders.
And we should
Yeah.
say we're lucky enough to be out here in LA. We go to a lot of follow-along bars that follow the Browns, follow the Bengals, that
Yeah,
we
Browns
can go and
backers.
meet out. Yeah, exactly. Backers bars where we can come out here and just meet up with people who like the same stuff as us. So yeah, maybe that's the more niche or the more normie aspect is just the hangout and stuff. I think the niche and kind of what I like about football is, look, it's a game of time. It all comes down to what's left on the clock. You know, how smartly how intelligently are both captains of the team, playing that out. It's kind of like a video game in that aspect.
Yeah, my dad says usually the team that squats on the ball is going to win the game, so they should really start doing that earlier. Speaking of both captains managing, and when I see teams squat, they're usually going to win. So that play is not used enough.
Mike's pro squat.
Yeah, so the
Aren't we all
squat is almost 100% win rate when you squat. So, speaking of fantasy, like Jacob was saying, we just finished up our personal draft.
That's right, our fantasy
it's
football
now
draft.
the Tuesday when this releases before the regular season starts. So we have the BFFFL, Best Friends Forever Fantasy Football League. I think it's 4 Fs.
I just always rail on the Fs. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how many there are. It's just the BFFFFL.
This is the 4th annual year, and last year the champion was Mike. Mike
Yay,
Romans.
congratulations.
Hey, yo, championship bad boy over here. I went to Red Lobster with
We'll see if
everybody
you can
else's
go
money. It was great.
Back to
So
back.
right now we're only missing one of our teammates. Everyone else here on the podcast is a part of that league. And we should say before we got Mike here as well, we used to have a robot called Jacobot who used to kick my ass every year.
yeah.
So I'm very happy that
Collins' rival, the robot.
Yeah.
I'm
That is
glad-
because we had an odd number of people, so we had a robot, which was really just me drafting bad players, basically. But
Yeah,
somehow
well,
we still beat Collins.
You say bad players, I say some greats because boy, it had my number every goddamn year.
Well, let's talk about that quickly. How does everyone feel about the draft? How do you feel? Anybody you're excited about?
Well, we
Let's
just
start
got our
with-
report
yeah.
cards as well, so I'm not feeling very
Let's
good.
go
but
around.
yeah,
Let's
go
start with the
around.
guest.
Tell me.
Cole, how you feeling?
I feel great about my draft. Yahoo doesn't agree with me, but I don't agree with Yahoo, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's fine. Jacob.
I'm feeling pretty good. I got the highest grade based on Yahoo, but I'm also just feeling good about my team. I got Josh Gordon, so I'm very happy about that because I believe in the hype.
All right, Believe Land. Josh Gordon.
Cleveland.
A lot of us like to draft people who are on our core team. I only got one member of the Bengals this year, Joe Mixon, sort of closer to a rookie running back. Also a bad guy. What is
Maybe
the
a team
reason you're
criminal.
hearing some booze here? Maybe a bad guy.
Yeah, we like to call out when people are a known bad guy.
Yeah.
we did with Brian Singer on the X-Men episode.
Unfortunately, yeah, I got the old team and the bad guy team.
I mean, to
so
be fair,
I'm not
there's
feeling
a lot
great
of,
this year.
Like Zeke is a bad guy. Ezekiel Elliott. There's a lot of bad guys.
Yeah,
Turns out there are a lot of NFL players
Wait a minute.
with
If you
questionable
get
backgrounds
hit in
and
the head
histories.
enough and get paid enough money for it, you might do some bad guy stuff.
Well, that's the
I
Chris
fail to
Benoit
believe that.
argument, and that does not hold any water.
Oh, rip.
Well,
Joe.
he probably had CTE though.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, which is exactly the same.
Certainly, yeah.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Hey, Joe, how you feeling about the...
I'm feeling all right. Like Colin said, we like to draft a lot of the people on our team. I didn't get OBJ. I didn't get Barkley. So a lot of those guys that went in the first round that are Giants didn't fall to me, which is kind of a bummer. Yahoo thinks I'm a moron. But, I've
Didn't
been
Yahoo call
to
you
the
mayonnaise?
Yeah, they call me mayonnaise.
mayonnaise.
Middle of the road. A
think-
Duracell battery, whatever that last one means.
Well, you got your
bastards.
week 1 team name.
The Duracell batteries.
Well, mayonnaise. Monday Mayo.
Patty mayonnaise.
Nah, it's Luck Be a Lady because I got Andrew Luck as my quarterback.
Great. Well, Yahoo thinks I'm an idiot too. I took the bold strategy of not picking any defense. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm excited about having Des Bryant. It's just a weird thing that no one knows what's going to happen. So
Not even on a team, and you
not
picked
even
him.
on a team, but I don't know. It's kind of a fun...
By the time this podcast comes out, though, he can
He'll
easily
probably
be
have
picked up
settled,
by
yeah.
any number.
So, listeners, if you guys are doing fantasy leagues, you want to write in about who you're excited about, go ahead and hit us up on Twitter. We love to talk some football. We do love our pop culture, but we also, like the sports ball as well. I think basically football on TV and football in the movies is where we should go. Talk some classics. You know, we're talking Little Giants and more. Right after this. Omaha, set, hut. We are back.
Woo, we're back, Normies.
That's what it would be like if Mike was the quarterback.
I would just imitate.
Yeah, hey, real quick, what position did you guys ever want to play?
I did play.
I did play middle school.
All right,
what
well, tell me,
position?
what did you play?
I wouldn't want to play.
The years I peaked.
Yeah, I was on the offensive line and a defensive tackle.
I would
in
obviously
high school.
be a running back.
No,
Obviously,
obviously
you're
not.
built like it.
Now, Normies from the pictures looking at me, you guys better hope that I'm a kicker. Otherwise, I'm turning into piles of glass.
I tried out for football in high school, and low man wins, and I was not very big back then, and I just got leveled like a fucking Adam Sandler movie, and then just quit football. I was like, this is not for me.
Mama says Mike don't
Cole?
play.
In middle school, you play both sides of the ball.
Right.
And so I played quarterback one year, tight end one year, and I played linebacker both years.
Wow, you're so
And you
handsome.
missed it.
Nice.
No.
Yeah,
It was fun, but,
Yeah.
Those are some star positions, Cole.
That's true. Yeah, I would be
My team also only won one game in 2 years.
Oh, Cleveland.
We were the Cleveland Browns
Throw
in
any
middle school.
interceptions?
I don't know. I got hit quite a few times.
throw a lot of touchdowns.
God.
They got to shore up the O line.
And you were saying that.
Should have scrambled.
Right. Well, let me go. I want to ask you guys tops and bottoms here. What is kind of the best football movie or football series? Start with the guests, Cole and Jacob.
My favorite football series is Friday Night Lights of all
Classic.
time.
Oh, that's a great.
Such a great show. The movie or the show?
The show. The movie's okay, but the show is fantastic.
All right, Jacob, favorite.
Yeah, I would have to say that show is really good, and Replacements is a good movie, and
Classic Keanu.
Draft Day 2014, Cleveland Browns. Not a great movie, but I enjoyed it.
You saw it today.
Kevin Costner, right? I never
Kevin
saw that
Costner
one.
and Dennis Leary is the head coach.
It's a secret to Waterworld, right?
Yeah,
Did anybody else catch it?
No,
I did not see that
No,
movie.
I've never seen
I
that.
saw it.
It's
Well,
great.
Jacob, what is
It's
the
like
big...
the Moneyball of football. Movies.
Right, but I guess how can you make the action of an entire film? Who are the Browns going to draft?
I don't know, but they did it.
Wow.
I mean, the NFL Network manages to do that,
Yeah,
for
every
6
year.
months
Yeah, that's
out
true.
of the year,
Leading up.
talking about who is going to get drafted.
That's true.
That's another thing about football, like the drama of it. I mean, it makes sense
Yeah.
that there's so many movies and TV shows based around the sport because it is really about the drama.
Well, there are storylines throughout the season, just like in a TV show or a movie, about certain players, whether they're injured or not, or whether they did some kind of crime that they committed and how that's going to play out. And
I was kind of surprised
great.
neither one of you guys said Hard Knocks, considering your team is on there this
Oh,
I
year.
didn't even think
I love
about
Hard Knocks,
Honestly,
and-
the Hard Knocks is probably my favorite.
Hard Knocks, the way they make it, it's crazy because the turnaround is so quick. They have to pump those out in a week. Every episode, it's like they shoot for 3 days and they have to edit over the weekend and then they release it on Tuesday. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a really gnarly turnaround for that show. Colin, what's your favorite football?
So I'll tell you guys, Jacob just said it, the Replacements, you cannot argue that's so good. I've been on such an action movie kick lately. I shouted out the Action Boys last week, Patreon podcast, check it out. I have to go with the recommendation that they throw out, The Last Boy Scout, a classic Bruce
Love that
Willis,
movie.
Damon Wayans movie. Did you guys ever catch that, Shane Black?
Never seen that.
Yeah.
So it's about an ex-football player. It's kind of a detective story. It's super cool. And the big drama of it all, the big twist at the end of the movie is that the league itself has been behind it all to legalize gambling on football. I mean, what a different world that, that was such a big thing for them.
And that is now legal.
We have that now. Exactly. Yeah, think about that. So now we live in a post-world. Yeah, I just find that very interesting.
Yeah, that's
You
crazy.
can't remake The Last Boy Scout.
No, not anymore.
No. Joe, favorite football movie or TV show?
There's a bunch that I like. The Longest Yard remake is a lot of fun, the Adam Sandler one. And you get Burt Reynolds in
Classic.
it, who was in the original. Colin, what's that show that we would watch?
Blue Mountain State.
Oh, Blue Mountain
Mountain
State. God, I
that
love
show
that
was
comedy.
it was pretty dumb, but I loved that show.
I thought Blue Mountain State's really fun, actually. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like Friday Night Lights, the comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah, and a lot of those characters are fun. So I guess that's up there too. not seriously. I just kind of wanted to talk about it because no one had brought that one up.
Yeah,
yet.
no, Blue Mountain State's a good.
What about Ballers starring The Rock?
Oh, Ballers with
That's
the
on
Rock.
HBO.
Yeah.
Right.
Ballers is like the entourage of football, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, absolutely. But we have to
They
point
just
out.
like the deal.
Everything worked out.
But if it was like if Dwayne The Rock Johnson was Ari from the Entourage
Yeah.
and he was the main character instead of
Yeah. Well, I just like anytime you put The Rock in like a suit and make him a businessman, I'm just like,
No, but he's a
is it?
retired NFL
Yeah, a
player.
totally
That's why he's so
normal
giant.
guy.
Yeah.
He's a retired Hall of Fame NFL player and then becomes an agent.
We should point out, though, that is the first program that was actually cleared to use actual NFL teams on the program itself. Now, they pulled that off by just going balls to the wall and doing it, making them Dolphins players in it, and just hoping that they didn't get sued. I would have to believe that maybe the NFL gave them that goodwill because they want to be associated with The
good
Rock.
publicity and
Exactly.
stuff.
You know,
Right,
at a
right.
time where they're kind of facing some more troubles with some head injuries.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Well, anything to like kind of get into the zeitgeist of the time too. Like if you can line up with The Rock, you're doing pretty.
Oh, exactly. And
Right.
if you're on
Yeah.
HBO, the same network people are talking about Game of Thrones all the time, wait a minute, you're seeing the NFL on there too.
And they've been having
Makes
the relationship
sense.
with HBO through
Yeah,
Hard
they have Hard
Knocks.
Knocks.
Exactly.
So, well, my favorite football movie has nothing to do with the NFL. It's Little Giants.
Hey,
you got the ice box. I mean, it's
They have NFL
Mighty
players
Ducks.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
When John Madden pops up.
Yep. Here's what's crazy. And we'll jump with this in the video games. There's kids growing up now who probably don't know who John Madden is.
the guy from the video game. Right?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in the game section. That's wild, Madden.
He shows up to learn the annexation of Puerto Rico, right? I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, something
That's
like that.
right.
Yeah.
So crazy.
So what do you like about Little Giants?
Oh, it's just the Mighty Ducks on a football field.
Yeah.
It's a classic Sandlot, the ragtag group, and they come together and they just go for it. Yeah,
Rick
little-
Moran.
An underdog story.
Yeah, underdog story, and that's like most football movies. Look at Rudy, underdog story.
Well,
Wow,
when you
no one
think
said
about
Rudy either.
That's
Yeah,
a great
that's
one,
true.
Mr. Frodo. My other one would say notable mention. Remember the Titans.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
a good
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah, that one's great.
Wow, there's a lot of football movies. Turns out people
Any
like
given
sports.
Sunday with Al Pacino,
Yeah.
One of
Ooh-ah.
the most classic speeches is a game of inches, right? You can watch that when you wake up. I guarantee you'll make $10,000 more the next year if you listen to that every day.
Oh,
When
absolutely.
you wake up.
I watch it 6 times a day for that reason.
But there's kind of two different genres if you're thinking about football programs. So what do you guys like? Do you guys like the overcoming adversity, the remembering the Titans, the We Are Marshalls, where some sort of tragedies happen and they're going to pick it up, still play? Or do you kind of like the more, it's just a game, it's sort of a face-off, something like, well, not even Rudy, I guess something more like...
Yeah, because Rudy's about overcoming adversity too.
Even Varsity Blues or Any Given Sunday. I
Varsity
guess
Blues.
they are just incredibly tied to a challenge that the character is going to face, and it plays out in the game.
And sometimes the character can be the whole team. Like the team has to overcome something to work together, or an individual player like Rudy has to overcome like the chance that he doesn't get a shot or whatever.
Yeah, and something like, Friday Night Lights, the TV show, they really didn't show a lot of game footage in the episodes, but it would kind of be like the season would be based around the football season, but it'd be more about like the interpersonal relationships and dramas between the different characters.
Yeah, and just using the games
Yeah.
to highlight or
Right.
specialize like what's happening in their lives.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, basically, like they said, we have the football comedies, but they all still, even the ones that aren't comedies that are more dramas, do follow that thread of
Yeah, Longest Yard, same thing, what you're saying. We're overcoming something.
Longest
The
Yard.
replacements.
Placement.
Even Waterboy is
Waterboy.
overcoming something,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, no one said Waterboy either.
Well, it's not my favorite, but it does have the big show.
Yeah, do you like your footballs as comedies or footballs as drama?
I think football's a fucking comedy.
I like
Yeah.
drama the best.
Personally, you like dramatic football movies. I mean, it is dramatic on TV, but also like,
Yeah, what's more real to life?
the idea of football. I grew up in a big football high school. I don't know about you guys, but growing up in Ohio, football was like the biggest thing. And just the idea of this culture of like, we had a sports bar named after the high school sports team. And
Oh,
it's like,
wow.
Wow.
they can't even go there. I mean, the guys who
That's a
still
bit
live here
much.
who are talking about state 94, you ever see me throw the ball in state? Like that whole, like, I don't know. The
No, Dad.
The glory days thing about it is kind of comedic to me, just at its core. Like, it's just a funny trope, the glory days guy, like, yeah, I had state.
I want to see like Uncle Drew made with football players, but instead of like a super team, they're just like a high school team that never grew up and is just like
Yeah,
hanging
that
around
still
town.
wants to play. That
and
is a
like,
good idea.
Challenges the high school kids and like tries to show them what's up.
Everybody in the NFL gets concussions and they have to start going real deep to the well. Here's a question about, because it's not really the movies, but football on TV. Like, football is kind of changing right now a lot to be safer, and some people say that's taking the excitement out of the game. How do you guys feel about some of these changes? Because I know I don't think head injuries are good, but I also don't think boring football is good.
I get nervous about losing the kicking, but then I read those statistics about it being the most dangerous part, and I can't help but understand.
Yeah,
I mean,
kickoff
who am
returns
I?
and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hot take, it's a dangerous sport. They're compensated well to play a dangerous sport. If you take the danger out of it, then you take the excitement out of
Like,
it.
you can't make crab fishing safe.
Yeah, I'm not trying to watch like
But you
water
get paid
polo
for the
or-
danger,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Yeah.
I think they should take all the precautions they can and stuff, and like safer helmets and stuff are always good. They're coming up with like new technologies and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like put them back in the 1920s helmets, but
Right.
let them run the ball out of the end zone. Like that's something I kind of can't stand.
See, I agree
Right.
with Jacob. I think the precautions are important, but I also think the issue with this year is as a new rule, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but lowering your head is like a penalty at all.
Right, when
And the
you
way you
tackle.
tackle, you naturally lower your head. So people are getting called for it all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
And like,
Yeah, they're still
no one
figuring
knows
that out.
how to do it properly
Exactly.
without getting called
Exactly.
for it.
I think
which is
that I
another
think that's
issue.
an issue.
Yeah, for sure.
And you only get 16 games to figure it out.
Yeah,
In the NBA or something, they make a rule change. You can kind of get a big sample size of how it's going to affect the game. This could have like a drastic effect on playoff standings or anything like that just because a call goes one way or the other.
Oh,
That's
and then
why
it
the
could be
NBA is
different
better.
last year or next year. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, because they'll realize how it goes this year and adjust accordingly.
And then you spend all the next year's camp preparing for a rule that's not going to be the same way. So-
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting once you start removing actual core aspects of the game. Kicking was a part of the game. If kicking's taken out, is it still football? Well, I would say
It's the
yes.
only foot part.
I don't think that's not
Yeah.
really a very important part, though.
Bruh.
Sometimes
No.
you get like a kickoff return touchdown or something, but that's really it.
Well, we all know it's a kicker's league.
It's a kicker's league.
Remember that hot tip.
Which, by the way, we do have also a separate kickers only league in our fantasy for the people at home. So if you want to start one, we'll tell you how. Write us. Another thing about football on TV, because we're talking about the movies, but really it is the live spectacle. I mean, the Super Bowl is still like one of the most watched things on television.
the halftime show, the,
halftime
commercials.
show, the commercials. So you guys go all out for the Super Bowl parties? Do you have any
Oh, hell
Super Bowl
yeah.
memories? Yeah, let's just chat some Super Bowl, because I thought this last one was great. The Nick Foles catch. I mean, that's one of the coolest plays I've ever seen live.
So fun.
I'll just say that I always like when it syncs up. Like, when do you guys remember? It was New Orleans. They'd just gotten hit by Hurricane Katrina. And it was also Fat Tuesday or Fat Monday or, whatever it was for Mardi Gras. I mean,
Yeah.
we had a cake. Everybody, had their thoughts and prayers for New Orleans. We were all just so jazzed. It just lined up so perfectly.
Yeah, no, that's when sports intersects with real life. Like,
It's the best.
Nah.
the true Cinderella story, something that you want to make a movie about. Like this year's Browns when they go to the Super Bowl and win.
right.
Hey, getting ahead of yourself, Mike.
Personally,
Yeah.
I prefer like the NBA championships because that's kind of the same thing. But if the Browns made it to the Super Bowl, I would definitely be very interested in that.
Yeah, Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne. That's the other thing too. Is like you look at Cleveland and Chicago when they were in the World Series a couple years ago too. These storylines coming to a head, and it's like just this real life
Yeah.
drama that you.
Or in the
you know.
comeback, the Cavs coming back from being down 3-1 was huge.
Was that when the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead?
Exactly.
Well, the thing that's kind of amazing, it involves a whole city. It involves the whole state when these teams make it these championships. I remember
Right.
last year when the Dodgers were in the World Series. I remember walking through Echo Park and there just being people everywhere in Dodgers jerseys, people standing outside
Blue
of bars,
flags.
watching the game through the windows. It was incredible to be around.
Yeah, and you're talking cool stuff that cities does. I mean, how about last year eating a horse turd? I mean, come on, Philadelphia, that's awesome.
No, man.
Yeah. What the fuck? God. You guys don't remember that? During the riots? Oh my God.
I remember they had to grease the telephone
Yeah.
poles because people were climbing
Oh,
them.
I saw a video.
Philly.
Guys, I saw a video of a Philadelphia fan eat a turd that a police horse literally just dropped, and he was smiling and excited and said, "Go Philly."
Was there a
Now-
bet? Like, what's the
No,
story?
I have no idea. I imagine he was drunk out of his mind.
I hate the word turd so much.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. you just
Because of the
said it.
Venom movie.
Yeah, well, the Venom movie too. I just think it's like, I hate that word.
Yeah, it's bad. But that's so. Congratulations, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I guess
act
eat all
like
the shit
people.
you want. You can do it.
Yeah.
Come on, just act like people.
And I don't know.
Cleveland would be doing the same thing if the Browns won.
I don't
the
think
Super
we'll eat
Bowl,
a
though.
turd.
Nobody's gonna eat
No.
Maybe.
hope not.
Don't count
I
it
hope
out.
that's
look
not
when
your
LeBron won.
go-to.
You didn't do
Sunday.
that.
We had a great parade when the Cavs won.
Yeah,
Nobody ate
exactly.
turds.
You guys
Nobody
had a
got
great
hurt.
parade
I
when the
can't know
Browns
for sure
lost,
that
too,
nobody
right?
ate a turd. Okay, I can't know for that.
Did you guys? How do you guys feel about that as Browns fans? When
What?
When you went 14 or whatever, and they
rebuilding
threw a
year.
parade.
That's right.
It's
We
a
had
They're
rebuilding
tanking
here.
on purpose.
Perfect season.
Yeah.
the perfect season parade.
Yeah. What do you think?
Why?
Of the
Why
parade?
win like 4 games when you can win 0? What's
Yeah,
the difference?
why?
Well,
Yeah. Who cares about pride?
what I
You
will
get the
say,
first overall pick. What does it matter?
it landed as Baker Mayfield this year,
Yeah.
who looks to be the quarterback
It's called
of the future.
tanking. It's a calculated thing, and now we're turning a corner, and now we're going to be great.
All right, little sass out of Jacob.
Jacob's
And
ass.
if you say
I'm
otherwise,
a Browns fan too, and I'm agreeing with what Cole's saying. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's called tanking.
I mean, I would have loved to have at least won one game like the year prior,
yeah.
but we didn't. But we got great draft picks because of it.
I'm excited for you guys this year. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. Your receiving core is great. Baker
is
Mayfield's
looking
exciting,
great.
but like, I don't know, Tyrod Taylor, I also really enjoy.
I'll just say it is
Taylor's
so
great,
funny
too.
to listen to you guys be like, we're going to the championships, we're going to the championships. Your last 2 years, you scored a total of 1 win.
It's a totally different team. Now.
I'm just
right.
saying that is
Tyrod
so
Taylor.
much
Can you
pride.
imagine, like, in 2 years you win 1 game and you get a TV show and your fans talking about you going to the championships?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's right. You have a
Bengals
TV
will definitely
show.
be better than the Bengals this year.
Ooh, we'll see.
If anybody's listening, and we have a lot of listeners in Ohio, actually, so write to us. If you disagree.
Yeah,
is
and
like
we'll get
the
a
one-
bet going. We'll get a bet off air, guys. We'll let you know at
Battle
next
of Ohio.
episode.
Well, no, let's do this
But,
right now.
I'll
some
put a Twitter
terms
poll
on the
out.
line.
Browns or Bengals,
Let's
and you
do
let us
that.
know.
Meanwhile, let's all pick who's going to win the Super Bowl this year, and we'll check back in a year, or when Super Bowl comes
Oh,
around.
I'll start us off. I'll say the Saints are going all the way this year.
You say the Saints.
I say
okay.
the Saints. This is Drew Brees' year.
I mean, I always say the New York Football Giants, but I'll say the Rams too. I think they have a really good shot this year.
It sucks to go third because both of those are 2 of my top picks. I always love Drew Brees. They're looking crazy. Kamara, Michael Thomas. Like, Drew Brees is the man. Their defense is looking good. So, yeah, I'm kind of with them on this one.
If I could throw in my pick, the Minnesota Vikings.
It's a good one.
They were
They're
close
calling it
last
right
year.
now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
I think
was
they
gonna
got a new quarterback. Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins. They got good receivers. I think they're going to go all the way this year.
I like Captain Kirk Cousins. I think he's
Yeah.
got a good shot here.
Cole, do you
I
agree
was
with
also
that?
going to say the Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those
Jaguars could also be interesting. Jacksonville
Are,
Jaguars.
Blake Bortles almost did it. Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they have some decent receivers.
I like their owner. I think he's.
You like their owner?
Yeah. Isn't he the one who came out with all of
Shad
them, like,
Khan.
arms? Is that not him?
Who? Did what now?
After the protests last year, where people were all up in arms.
Yeah,
about
that
taking
was-
a
that
knee.
was him.
He
Shad
came out
Khan.
with the whole team.
I
Yeah, and he
actually
said
just-
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I thought you just
I like
liked him
that.
because he put swimming pools in the stadium.
There is a swimming
That's
pool.
another reason I do like to party.
That's right.
Hey, do you guys have a favorite stadium that you've been to?
I've only been to a handful.
I mean, I've only been to a handful, but honestly, a lot of people give the new Charger Stadium right now a lot of shit. But I thought it was great. We went and saw the Browns play last
Just
year,
it's just
and
small.
sat so close.
And can I ask what one that's not the same as the LA Coliseum?
No, they play at
Okay.
StubHub Center, which is a soccer field.
And that's
Gotcha.
in Carson. It's like a little bit south
Yeah,
of LA, right?
yeah.
Central. Okay.
I've been to Paul Brown and I've been to the Coliseum out here. I thought Paul Brown was a lot better. It's a little cheaper food wise.
Okay.
First Energy
Paul
Stadium
Brown,
is
is
pretty
that,
nice. What's the Brown Stadium?
That's the Browns.
What's Paul Brown? Is that
Cincinnati.
Bengals?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. I saw Giants Bengals preseason. I haven't been to MetLife. The only stadium I've been to is
Was
the
the
old
Meadowlark.
Giants.
Is that what it was called?
Meadowlands.
It's the
Meadowlands.
Meadowlands.
Sorry.
The old Giants stadium. I have not been to the new one yet.
Yeah, I've only been to the First Energy Stadium, the Cleveland Stadium that they built recently. It's right on the lake. It was the last game of the year, snowing, freezing your ass off. We're getting stopped by Pittsburgh, and then everyone's leaving, but we're sitting there, and even the Pittsburgh fans are like, you guys are really dedicated. You're
Damn.
sticking it out. I'm like, well, yeah, man.
That sounds like a good time,
But
Mike.
you had a good time in the the tailgating and the muni lot, the municipal lot. Man, it's some interesting
Yeah.
folk. No one's eating turds, but
That's the new like level if you're having a good
Yeah.
time or not.
I guess.
guys eat shit?
it was
Boy, I hope not.
Browns fans are used to the taste of shit in their mouth.
Yeah,
so
we don't
that's-
need
that's
it.
bad about it.
Just to smile while you're doing it. I'll never forget it, guys.
I remember,
We're gonna drop a link in the show notes. For you.
me and my old man, we went to a couple Giants games, and like tailgating was always fun. Like sausage and peppers in the parking lot. And one game, I got like a Jeremy Shockey jersey that I had. I still have it, but I was like 10 years old when I bought it.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite football kind of memorabilia or like, is there anything you own that's football related that you cherish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jacob.
I would have to say my Johnny Manziel Funko Pop. It's great. It's good luck charm. I really like it.
Something they only made for a week.
All right. Cole?
I have an Eddie George signed helmet for the Tennessee Oilers before they became the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, wow. That's pretty
Wow.
good, actually.
And Eddie George
I
played
don't
at Ohio
cherish
State
it.
University.
It's at my house in Columbus, my parents' house. But
That's
I have
cherished.
it, though.
That's
Right.
really cool.
That's pretty cool. Colin?
Oh, I told you guys in the past about that Niners starter jacket that I traded for some Pokemon cards.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely cherished. But not even going for my team, just one of my favorite players of all time. I used to have a Brett Favre bobblehead. I love that man. Talk about, I'm sure we all have that player growing up that just wasn't even a part of our franchise who everybody just knew and you just absolutely loved. That was
Jerry
Brett Favre
Rice.
for me. Jerry Rice, when we were growing up, was huge. I mean, he's the reason that I had that Niners starter jacket.
I've always kind of had football stuff. I my Jeremy Shockey jersey I've always held on to, even though I had it when I was a kid. I have a hat I'm wearing now that I got from the NFL when I was doing some work for them last year during the season. So it was kind of cool. It's a hat of my team that I got for free from the NFL.
That's
Hell
right.
yeah.
You did some work. That's pretty awesome. My my grandmother and my mother were the sports fans growing up. It's like the men didn't watch the sports, but the women did, and they were crazy about the Browns. So my grandma gave me, before she passed away, her Brian Sipe jacket. It's an old school Browns jacket.
Damn.
It's perfect fit for me, and it's like from back in the good old days with like Brian Sipe, Webster Slaughter, around before Bernie Kosar. So that's my favorite sports thing, and I like to rock that at all times. So I thank everyone for sharing what they got, and I want to say on all of those great memorabilia and stuff like that, let's bless them.
Bless them.
And we're going to move on now to talk about some football video games. So let's get in there.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to John Madden Football.
All right, let's stop before we get a delay of game penalty, and let's keep things rolling talking about the football video games. Mostly we're talking Madden, the biggest, baddest franchise, but also I want to talk about some games like, NFL Blitz, which is more of an arcade style, and there's handhelds and various other things. So guys, hit me with your football game memories. Colin.
Well, guys, if I can give some facts about Madden first. So the first game came out in 1998. It was primarily for the computer. And just an interesting fact, they pay EA $50 million to the NFL every year just to get the exclusive rights for football video
sure,
games.
Just for the
To
license.
get the-
Just for the license.
NFL
And beyond
teams,
that,
yeah.
they pay $2 million for the John Madden name. I just find that fascinating.
I wish my name was worth $2 million a year.
Exactly.
So before you even sell, you have a $52 million budget just for the license and the name. That's insane.
And I've been playing them for years. How about you guys? I mean, pretty much every year we get the new one.
I mean, I've been playing them for years with you guys. So it's like, you guys and my brother are the only people I play Madden with.
How about Cole, Jacob, Madden?
Yeah, I play Madden every year.
You guys get it every year.
Almost every year. I always get
usually.
tricked into buying it because I want the new roster.
Yeah, exactly.
Cole always buys it, and then I just play it for free, so it works out for me.
I'm a big believer in Madden should be one core game with DLC rosters every
That's
year.
the way I
Yeah.
feel. I would
Every year,
pay- I
charge
would
me
pay
another
$10,
$20, I'll pay it.
whatever,
Yeah.
No, they're going to charge you another
They'll
60
never do- and then
with
That will
microtransactions,
never happen.
Yeah.
My favorite version of Madden is Madden 95. I still remember the code to unlock the Panthers and the Jaguars because they were new teams that year. And it's Sega Genesis BACACAC start. And then John Madden will say POW.
Oh, my God.
And you get the Jaguars and the Panthers and their 99 rated team. Their
Wow.
max stats in that game.
Dude, that's hilarious.
So that's the one I remember most fondly. I
I
don't
remember,
play it that often.
My, I think my favorite memory of like playing a football video game back in the day when I was a kid was NFL Blitz on the GameCube. I think it was probably like 2000 or
Yes.
2001 or something like that.
Is that GameCube?
The
I thought that
GameCube?
was...
I remember like N64.
I remember
it was
N64.
It was on
yeah.
multiple.
And
I
we
got
had it on
64 memories, but
PlayStation.
no,
Yeah.
he's right, for sure.
I
But
didn't know they
I
kept
think I
that
might
one.
have had one on GameCube too, and I just remember because you could like the turbo, you would light on fire, and then you could like tackle people after the play.
When you could jump on them and like body
you
slam
could do
them.
Those late hits.
wrestling moves.
Those were like sleepover staples.
Yeah,
for
I remember
NFL
playing
Blitz
the
for hours.
arcade game too.
Oh yeah.
You know, like at soccer tournaments or whatever, like there's a little arcade at the arena or whatever, and you play one other person in NFL Blitz.
Oh my God! And Jacob or Joe, I'm sorry, you're saying sleepover. Did you guys have the experience of just playing touch or playing flag with neighborhood friends, where
yeah.
it would just start to rain, you'd go inside and just play Madden?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Many a rainy summer afternoon were spent playing Madden on the Genesis with the multi-tap, so you could have 4 controllers. And what was dumb about that game is the way they signified which player you were. Everything was just a shade of red to orange. So it was like red, orange, yellow, orange, and yellow. So it was really hard to distinguish.
I'll be
who you
yellow
were.
orange. Oh, I want red orange.
Yeah, so to keep track of who you were when you're running routes was weird. But
Yeah, I mean, I remember getting off football practice to go play Madden with buddies, which is like, don't you like anything else?
Yeah, it takes over your life.
Yeah.
do you guys like make your own teams when you play Madden and stuff? Because I haven't played any
not
Madden
really
since like
good.
2001.
I do that a
can.
lot. I do that more for NBA 2K, but I like to make a franchise, and then like I do fantasy draft where you just draft every team just drafts every player available, so all the teams just have totally different players.
Right.
I like to just build a team that way. But yeah, it's pretty fun.
You guys also owned the 2016 game that had the first story mode line version of that, correct?
Well, that was last year.
Oh, that was 2017.
Yes.
2016 is the most recent one I own.
Yeah. I also remember years ago, I think it was NCAA football, you could download teams, and I remember we downloaded the East Dillon Lions and
Yeah.
the Dillon
Oh, yeah.
Tiger, the Panthers, Dillon
Yep.
Panthers, and used to
That
play.
was so fun.
You know,
man.
Had a little Friday night
lights,
face
yeah.
off.
And they had the other great thing about those was they would have like the option pass drill
Oh yeah.
layout where you could just for hours I would sit there and just run the option
And just
over
run
and
the
over
option.
again.
That's right.
Yeah.
We would find you just running the option, Joe.
It's
That's
just
great.
fun, man. Like it was, you know. I mean, it was like
Your quarterback moves.
yeah, like any other game where you do like challenge maps or something like that. It was the same type of thing where you would just see how far you can get the ball down the field just running the option.
All I ever would do in Madden is throw Hail Marys.
Oh, yeah.
Hail Marys and
Oh, yeah,
blitzes
yeah.
every time, baby.
You don't need to do anything else to succeed in football,
Yeah.
right?
So I would say at our height, probably 2012 when we were playing at the house all together, that was when we got the dry erase board, wrote our names
yeah.
on it, wrote out a ranking, a style,
yeah.
We had a
the
tournament.
brackets, and we had a tournament play out. And Cole, I believe you won that tournament.
No. It was a. We all tied.
Oh my God.
We talked shit for weeks about who was gonna win, and we all tied.
Was it like
Classic.
round robin?
No, like we played everybody twice, and basically, like I would beat Jacob, Jacob would beat Colin,
Yeah, just the
Colin
way
would
the
beat
points
Andy,
stacked
Andy
up.
would beat me, and then it just repeated.
This became
You know, everybody.
a net zero. That's pretty
Yeah.
funny. If you have a picture of the board, you should.
Yeah,
send
we'll
it to
search.
her.
It was a
I
classic.
don't have one.
Here's a thing about the Madden games that I was figuring out when I was doing some research is they are like to kind of contrast it from Blitz, which we have good memories of because of the late hits and it's like smash mouth football. The Madden games now don't allow things like the word concussion. It says head injury. They don't allow the ambulance to come onto the field if there's an injury. They won't. There's like certain things that they're
The
cutting out.
illusion of safety.
Yeah,
Right, so they're kind of
absolutely.
censoring it. So we'll never get another game like
Well, because
NFL
people-
Blitz. It would have to be called Football Blitz or something.
XFL Blitz, come on, baby, make it happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
You don't want kids to get a bad idea of what football is in real life.
By giving them an accurate look at what it is in real life.
No, I'm just saying like
Oh, for the Blitz stuff, yeah, that makes sense.
What I was hoping would happen was this is the first year that Madden, in a long time, is coming to PC. And I was hoping that somebody would make a mod that would make it like Blitz, but I think I heard that it was not being opened up to modding.
Ooh,
Well,
ouch.
it will
Well, just 'cause
eventually
it's not
be,
now, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Here's because there's not a big space it seems for like arcade style sports games now. It's all simulation to me. Looking at FIFA, NBA 2K, and Madden.
I do like, Cole, you and I play a lot of the, in the recent Maddens,
Yes.
there are different modes.
The arcade mode.
And there is an
Oh.
arcade mode where
I can play with 4
interceptions
buttons.
are way more
You get like
likely.
8 to 10 interceptions
more
a
big
game
plays
and
and
stuff.
stuff. too.
A lot of
Fumbles
fun.
are a lot more
Simulation
likely. You can crack open
personally.
runs a lot. We have a lot of fun with those. I mean, we've played games where it's like
Jacob hates
60 to 70.
Right.
Oh, I love that. It makes it more dynamic.
because I get too mad when I lose.
Right.
I throw too
Yeah,
many
that's true.
interceptions and then I get mad.
Throws too many interceptions and then throws the controller.
Right. The wall picks it to the wall.
Get picked off by the wall.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's another thing, like fantasy football itself is kind of like a football game, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you're
Yeah,
playing
very
the
much so.
odds.
That's why
I
it's
think
like
of it more like a board game than like a video game, though.
It's harder to do than D&D, and that's really nerdy. I think fantasy football feels nerdier. Like I'm looking more at
bold claim,
numbers,
Mike.
right?
Yeah, the way I think about it is you have a party, they have stats, they each have like, weaknesses and strengths, and then you have to make your best party
Oh,
lineup
God
each
damn
week.
you guys. Guys, do not make me more interested in this.
That's how I look at
I cannot lose my life to fantasy football.
No, I agree with you.
Our D&D league is our fantasy football league as well.
Mine is
Mine is
Andy
Andy.
because he lives out of state.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
swapping Sebastian.
he still exists in the campaign. He's
He
just,
does have a
guessed it
character.
before.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Except X Kaita, who's also in the
Yeah, friend of the show. He's also in the D&D league.
X.
But yeah, it feels like fantasy football is nerdier to me than something like D&E because it's so stat
numbers,
and
man.
You're following injury
Well,
reports.
it's taking a normie thing and making it niche, but also it's becoming more normie just by itself because it's never been more popular.
and it's like in FanDuel, you see it a lot everywhere.
especially FanDuel, DraftKings, like the rise of all of that stuff has made it so
We have to talk
popular.
about those. So when we're talking games, these are the ultimate games. I mean, gambling. So we've got DraftKings, we have Dual Fantasy, things like that. Guys, have you played any of these? Have you won any money on these? Real world stakes.
Yeah, I have. I've gambled on the NFL for a few years.
Oh, Jacob, you want to be saying this? Okay, cool.
Don't report me.
We'll delete your last name.
Well,
off
you're
the
allowed
website.
to.
Well, there's websites you can do it on and stuff, and I've also dabbled with sort of the FanDuel's draft.
The pick a day,
DraftKings,
the quick pick version
And
of
those
fantasy
can be fun
football.
for low amounts of money, but honestly, those are kind of a scam, and I would not recommend them if you're actually seriously trying to win money. It's kind of like getting a scratch off lottery ticket. Like that's like your odds are a little better probably, but you're only not going to win that much money.
I love scratch off tickets though,
Yeah.
so maybe I'll start playing.
Playing more, yeah.
I'm going to
basically,
Vegas,
what you do is you have a budget of money, and then all the different players are ranked different amounts of money based on like how good they are, and then you can try to get the best roster, but it's only for 1 week.
And you
So
have,
it's sort of
a
like
set
an
budget.
auction draft.
Yeah, so
And
you
can
kind
I-
of have to pick the players that you think are going to like break out that week. So it's kind of luck of the draw.
Are you just blasting against strangers though, or can you limit it to people in a range or people in your own
No,
friend
it's like
group?
a big
I want to
pool
play
of
this
people.
20
So
people.
there's like different
Gotcha.
lobbies you can go into, like different kinds. Some are like multiple entry, some are just single entry, that kind of thing. So, but the thing is, that like 90% of the winners are like 2% of the like it's the sharks at the top that have like algorithmic programs and stuff. To
Okay,
work out.
if you are those sharks and you listen to this
Yeah.
program, email us in. Let us know your tips and tricks. We would love to know how to make tons of money.
So that's what's fascinating is it is to that level where there's like that like granular level of attention that you could pay to it if you wanted to, or you can just kind of pick players you like,
Yeah, but I do bet on the line occasionally. I bet on the over and under, that kind of thing. I do like parlays and stuff. So I do that
pirate
sometimes.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows it. He can't speak it.
Right.
I'm going to be going to Vegas in early October, so I think I might bet a little bit on.
Just
some
throw it on the
games.
Browns.
That's a good
to win.
idea, man. Why not? Oh, yeah, definitely.
Browns are the favorite.
I'm gonna put my rent money on the
team
Browns.
to win the AFC and go to the Super Bowl because so many people are hyping up the Browns. They're the most bet on team
Wow.
right now.
They are. It's
The
like
power
1
of
in 3 odds or
media,
something
hard
like that.
knocks,
Very
and
cool.
everything, right?
Yeah, they've got a lot of limelight. That makes sense.
That's true.
Which
And
is
that's
like, again, you win one game in 2 years, you get a TV show, and your fans talking
It's,
about
Hey,
it.
that's
it's
cool.
all about the storyline. It's a great storyline.
it is a
right
great
Eagles,
story.
if the Eagles can turn it around and win in a Super Bowl, who's to say the Browns can't?
bless them, right?
Well, to sum up what I like about the games and the niche to normie of it
Yeah.
is, I guess, is even playing this fantasy or even when we're playing Madden or something, I'm learning these guys' names. It is humanizing them a lot more, and I'm seeing these guys. I'm picking my favorite guys.
For sure.
I wish they weren't all guys. Put some girls in there. Put the icebox in there.
You
I'd
want
be
to be
totally
co-ed?
That's a
saying the NFL should be co-ed.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting stance to take in the middle of this rant, but I'm just saying anybody could play if they
I
wanted
appreciate
to.
you just throwing it in there, though. I'm
yeah,
down.
Right on the video
She
game
hate me.
section, yeah.
Exactly. But just the fact that it makes them more human in my eyes, that's the normalization of it. I
Yeah.
love these guys. They're getting the spotlight. They're appearing on things like Hard Knocks. They're getting more and more commercial deals. Sell me Subway sandwiches. I don't care.
I would like to say I appreciate fantasy football because, we've talked a lot about how football's limited. I mean, you get it for just a couple weeks a year and you're watching one team. You have one team you follow. It's nice that, like, fantasy football makes me more invested in games that I'll just casually catch So like it gives me a reason to watch every game.
Well, beyond that, we talk about how we did in our standing all year round. Like literally,
Yeah,
we will
true.
talk
It's a lot
about
of
fantasy
bragging
football
rights.
forever. So it gets us talking about football forever. It's great.
Yeah, it's nice to have like a group chat with your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing that I think is really great about having a league like ours is, it's a chance to hang out with your buddies and drink mimosas at 9 a.m. while you're drafting football
And
players.
shoot a lot of gifts to each other and just a lot of bullshit and a lot of fun.
It definitely, it's like that multiplayer sitting on the couch winning at Madden. You get to trash talk throughout the season, through the chat. It's great. Any final thoughts on fantasy football, Cole or Jacob?
I think Joe kind of hit on the head for me, where it gives me a reason to watch other games and to root for other teams. Thursday night there's one game on. If I'm home, I'm going to watch it,
Yeah,
and
of course
because
I'm
of
gonna watch
fantasy, I'm going to have a team that I'm rooting for.
Or at least a player that you're keeping
At least
an
a
eye
player.
on.
or a team you're rooting against because you
Exactly.
don't want your opponent to do well.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, basically the way I look at it, I'm just playing an RPG based on real life events with all my buddies, and just we trash talk, and it's all fun.
I kind of like looking at it that way too, like an RPG, because then you're building your party. I think
Yeah.
that
I'm
makes
going
a
to
lot of
start
sense.
to. You guys are turning me.
That's a good call,
It's like,
Jacob.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gives me something to do when I have like downtime at work. I can check my roster, make fiddle with it.
It is weird that you keep calling Tom Brady your wizard.
Yeah.
paladin,
Well, he's a
yeah.
caster. Long range. And then
I just like to tinker with my lineup a lot. I like to look at the waiver wire, see who I might want to pick up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, it's raining today. That's minus 15 to catch. So you got to think about that stuff.
You laugh, conditions count.
That's right. All right.
Well, hopefully no one rolls a natural one this year.
Oh, well, the Browns rolled a natural one all last year. So. But then that got us the number one pick. Yeah, so that's great. Let's go ahead and talk. This is, Normies, we always talk about, kind of the movies, the games, the comics. There's not a lot of comics, but we're going to jump in there briefly just to mention a couple of key points, and then we're hit this wrap up. So we'll see you on the other side. Hey, Normies, we are back. We are heading into the third quarter here, about to just past the halfway point. We wanted to talk briefly about football comics, and honestly, they're not a ton that I know about. I'm sure there are. I know there's a couple superheroes that are football players. There's a Japanese manga and anime called iShield 21 that's all about American football. It's very stylized. What's there to really say here?
Well, Mike, you pitched us the manga. I will say I checked out iShield 21. I read the first 2 chapters. I could not find the English version, so they were in German, which I cannot read.
Well, there you go.
But it did seem
But you read them now.
But I did read them. And, it did seem very interesting. Like you just said, they play it off as an American football club. So it's interesting to see that it's still kind of important over there, or at least enough to bring a social angle to it.
A quick note on iShield 21. Once that book came out and the anime was airing, like, viewership in American football television in Japan was like skyrocketing.
See, there you go.
So it created an interest and an entry point for people who otherwise didn't care about the sport.
I mean, the NFL is finding a foreign market, and that's something they're definitely looking for. We've expanded the out of country games to 2 a year instead of 1. I think that's only going to go up
Mexico,
now.
I think they play some games in
Well, I
Mexico.
Let's
think
go to
I think
Japan.
That's the
Yeah.
interesting conversation, though. Is can that ever happen to have a team across the ocean? Because the thing
I
is,
think you could have a London team.
but the issue is how does that team's schedule play out? Because the travel time and the time difference, wherever they go or whoever comes to them is always at a disadvantage.
Oh, you're absolutely
That's
right.
100%
So
right.
what was it for baseball? Was the Expos? Were their Canadian team?
No, I don't know.
Or Montreal?
But
or
that's
no?
Canada, though.
But they're
Canada
already
will be
flying.
fine.
Same
They're already
time
flying to
zone.
England.
Yeah.
Even something
Games
like that.
already.
You guys don't think we could have that? How about a Hawaii team?
But the thing about
would
the
love
thing about
Hawaii
the
or
games
Alaska.
across the thing about the games across countries now is that it's both teams from the U.S., so they're
Right.
both on the same schedule.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, the
right.
way you would have to do it is have the foreign country team come and stay for like 3 weeks and play X amount of games. When you ship over, like,
They just stay
schedule them
home.
on a bye week for the teams that are flying overseas, so they can at least get there and acclimate themselves. Like a couple.
There's
weeks.
like
pretty
there's
smart.
an internet joke of like the Jacksonville Jaguars are like London's team because they've played so many games in England. So just move the Jaguars.
Sounds
The-
great.
The London
The
Jaguars.
logistics would be tough.
They won't be able to have a
You know
pool
they
in their
say
end zone,
jaggy
though.
wires.
Yeah, it'd be too rainy.
Yeah, the Jaguars.
Jaggy
That's true.
wires.
They got the car deal once they move them over there.
Sponsorship.
Perfect. Joe, you were mentioning there's a couple of football-based like superheroes.
Yeah, there's one that I think is pretty fun to talk
Cyborg.
about. Cyborg played football
Right.
before he got Jason Streeted and ended up, half man, half.
That's
And we
Sure
got to see
now.
it in the Justice League movie. He had "Booyah" as his touchdown catchphrase. What does he say at the end of the film? Booyah.
But who cares about Cyborg? The best football superhero is NFL Superhero.
That's his name?
Or NFL, basically. NFL Super Pro. I'm sorry. It was
Okay.
a Marvel hero who does exist in canon, technically, who was a crossover with the NFL, trying to get more people to watch, trying to get more people to read. Both companies thought it would be a good idea, so they created the character of Phil Grayfield.
Okay,
who-
Field in his name.
he was a player, blew out his knee, became a reporter, and one day is at like the mansion of like a former player or like some eclectic sports guy who collects memorabilia, and he finds like indestructible football gear.
Okay.
And like he gets chemicals spilled on him and becomes like super strong, and that's basically it. He fights people like
He just
Quick
found
Kick.
the Juggernaut's helmet.
Yeah, basically.
Quick Kick, who is a field goal kicker turned into a ninja.
Wow.
Who's in like two issues. It only ran for like 12 issues. I've never read any of them. I've
Oh
just
my
seen a couple grabs that were pretty funny.
Some of those might be fun to post online.
Instant Replay was a villain who was an assassin who could like rewind time just a little bit.
That's
Like
like-
an instant replay.
That's really cool, actually.
Rewind the clock. Wahaha.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, people have powers like that where they can go back. It's like Prince of Persia, kind of, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, that's kind of all I know about. I do think it's interesting that iShield increased the popularity of the sport overseas.
Oh, and I liked what I saw. You know, what I find interesting about books like that, I know there's a lot of manga that do sport-specific things. This is the basketball one. This is the Go, which is like their chess or checkers over there. But I guess, how do you sustain it beyond, because the multiple issues I saw would have people literally facing off in that Japanese style of, you know, I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy, except it's football teams. So it's two players blocking eyes on the field. I'm the good guy, my team has to come over yours,
Yep.
you're the bad guy, the sort of monstrous looking dude. You know, how do you stretch that out, I guess?
They do like 5 panels for a guy like recognizing the gap in the
Yeah.
coverage, going for it, the gap closing,
Yeah.
new decision, like
Showing
it's-
off their skills,
it's
like literally that
hyper-stylized,
is
yeah.
what it is, and that's super cool. But you know, that's so okay. Wow, I just got chapter 3. They're almost gonna finish the game they started. You
Yeah,
know, it's
exactly.
like,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
I find that to be a little difficult.
A whole
So
chapter
something
is
like
one drama.
Joe's saying, where it's an actual character, and I'll say too, did anybody check out the newest season of Luke Cage?
I have
No.
not watched
Not
it
yet.
Man. I'm
I
so
will
behind.
say, guys, in this season, he decides he needs to start making money. He does an athletic showcase for Nike and the Giants.
Wow, really?
I mean, it's awesome.
What?
He's just out there doing like super cool, you know, flipping giant tires, showing off how fast he can run. They say, wow, you know, he can hit the minute, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Wow, Luke Cage
Super
is a New York
badass.
football giant.
and so the NFL is throwing the logo out there.
Yeah, why not? You know,
crazy.
exactly. They're
Once
trying
again,
to get that
increasing
brand out.
visibility, which-
Well, Disney and ESPN, that's another tie.
Right.
One last thing before we move on from the comics. If you're a college football fan, coming out, I think, tomorrow, as you're listening to this podcast, Marvel and ESPN are teaming up. There's going to be 4 issues of Marvel Comics that have special college football covers that are highlighting like big rivalries throughout the
Dope.
NCAA. So you
That
might want to
sounds
check that
awesome.
out.
Yeah, to keep those. Well, that's pretty much it for the third quarter here on the comics. Not a lot to say. Maybe check out iShield if you want something a bit different. Look up NFL Super Pro if you want something that seems weird to me.
Yeah, I'll post some of the screen grabs on our
Yeah.
socials.
Just if you want to
Definitely.
laugh, I don't think we'll ever be seeing those guys get adapted to the big
No,
screen.
Robert
You
Kirkman
guys.
wanted to use him in like a team up book, and they wouldn't let him because the
Oh.
rights were
Ooh.
just too confused.
Oh, look
to
at
me
that then.
Point.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Anyway, we're going to head on here and hit our final thoughts going to the fourth quarter of football.
Are you ready to touch football? On Monday night, baby! Yeah, this is Rockin' Randall Hank with a special alert for the nation. Here come the hits, the bangs, the blocks, and the spikes. Cause all my rowdy friends drop in on Monday night time. Let it fly, boy.
Hey, it's the fourth quarter, Normies. We're out here and we're doing our final thoughts on football, the world of foosball, sportball, hand egg, whatever you call it. We talked a little bit about how it's represented in the movies and on television in the game sense, the video games themselves, a little bit of comic banter. So let's get it. I want some final thoughts and hot takes. Let's hear from our guests. Any last notes about the great American sport of football? Colt.
Brown Super Bowl champs 2018, 2019.
That's right.
Boo.
That's,
Too late on that
agreed.
one, Doug.
Yeah, I'm just excited. Football season is a great time of year. Fun time, almost as good as basketball season.
Oh, and that's your hot take? You think basketball's better?
Well, I don't know if that's that hot of a take. I think most people like basketball better.
Jacob, do you honestly
That's
think,
so-
our
okay.
kids going to be still playing
wanna fight 'em.
That's funny. So bad.
No, because the thing is, less and less parents are letting their kids play middle school, high school, little tykes, whatever they call it.
Little Tykes. That's what they call it. Oh.
Little Giants.
Pee-wee.
Parents aren't letting their kids play football as much anymore because of all the concussion stuff, the CTE. So really, the talent pool of the NFL in like 20 years' time is going to deplete. And I do think, while it won't go away totally, I do think the ratings will go down as talent gets lesser. But we'll see. And I think NBA basketball is poised to take over as like the most popular sport in America. Down the line, I'm not talking like in 5 years, but maybe in like 20, 25 years.
I think people like football because it's lower commitment to be casual fan. It's just one game a week.
Yeah.
I'm not watching 39 million games.
Sure, you don't have to watch
a
every
week.
game in the basketball season either, though.
You don't have to watch the whole game, just the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But really, I think the basketball playoffs are more exciting than anything, NFL playoffs, anything like that.
No way. That'll
Yeah.
happen when you pry the Budweiser out of my cold, dead hand.
This bud's for me.
Can I just go on a little bit of a rant about parents not letting kids play football?
Go for it.
It's just like, that breaks my heart. Like, I get that it's a
Well,
dangerous
they can do
sport.
other things.
I
They
do.
can play soccer. They can play basketball. They can play baseball.
Yeah, or they could play football and like just play football. Like it's not.
But
I don't know.
people
It's
can
not-
get
people aren't
CTE
dying
from
every day playing football.
just high school. Like you could play just high school ball, and you could get CTE like later
Sure,
on
you
in
could
life.
cross the street and get hit by a car. Like,
But is it worth it just to play high school football?
I think if you enjoy it and you're good at it, absolutely.
I just think like to not do something because it's dangerous.
That's
To me, is
terrible
not a good
reason.
enough reason to kill a sport.
Well, we don't have gladiators anymore.
You're right. Bring back Gladiators.
We have American
I would watch
Gladiators.
it. I loved American Gladiators in the 80s.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, bring it
I'm talking
back.
about Roman gladiators.
No, you want wolf
People
back?
don't do that anymore because it's dangerous, right?
Well, yeah, and actually not as many people died in those as we've been led to believe. It's not
still
good on your
good.
investment, it turns out, to kill your star athletes every match.
Yeah, of course not.
You get
Right.
wounded, you give them top medical care, move it on. Anyways, that's what we have now. Wounded gladiators with CT scans and medical care. But
That's what I'm saying. The more that comes out about it,
It's
the
a
less
bummer.
people are going to want to play it. And we've seen people retire in their primes already just because they don't want to further mess up their brain.
in hockey as well, you see that with the fighting and you hit your head on the ice. Like Daniel Carcillo recently wrote a big op-ed piece about concussions in hockey because brains are not getting donated for CTE as much as football players. So
Oh, of course not. And guys, I mentioned Brett Favre, my favorite player of all time. He does not remember playing football anymore.
really, at all.
Partially. Yeah, I mean, I have read and heard him say like there are so many games and so many nights and just years that he has completely lost.
But yeah, I mean, obviously that's terrible. But then you think about at least if you provided a life, you chose your career, and like your family's taken care of.
Yeah, and you were
At least
paid
there's
millions
that.
of dollars to
You
play
did
a
it. Yeah,
dangerous
good for
game.
him.
But yeah, it's a sticky situation. It's a tough place to be. And I disagree. Back to Jacob's point about the finals, that Super Bowl is the biggest because it's one day, one game, one mistake, and you're done.
Yeah.
The stakes do
I mean,
not
it's
get
the most
higher.
weird, but
It's more
a
exciting than a
7-game series is more exciting because there's highs and lows, back and forth.
I mean, for
you know?
someone who can sit around for like every night that week and watch it,
I think-
like the Super Bowl, it's a Sunday event. You know what I mean? You're not
Yeah.
like, I'm racing home on a Tuesday to try to watch this Game 5 that could be huge.
The world stands still most.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they're still paying $1 million for commercials, guys.
Which those returns don't pan out. But you can pay us for commercials and we'll sell whatever you want.
Yeah, come on, Loot Crate.
Yeah.
Can I lay in my hot take?
Audible.
Absolutely.
Audible.com.
Yeah, let's go around the table here.
How about this, guys? It's football. I don't call it American football. It is football. I love football. I love this football. I'm probably always going to keep loving it. I'll always keep watching it. It's something that I can just tune in and turn on. Years can go by. I can lose some of my players on my team, but still tune in and say, who's that young guy who's sporting my colors from my hometown? And it makes me feel good, and I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a game of passion, man.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate you being on my side.
It's a game of passion. It's a fun sport. It's an exciting sport. There's a lot of camaraderie, and I like the familial aspect of it. Like our group of friends sits down and watches football. It's an excuse to hang
We
out with
text
your
about
friends
it,
and
yeah.
family. Like me and my brother talk every week during the regular season. My dad texts back and forth about how the Giants are doing and why we're so upset that day. So, like, it's one of those things where I think it brings people together if you're a fan. It's exciting to watch. Like, there's nothing better than going to a bar and catching a game with buddies.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Joe. Kind of what I like about football is that family aspect, you know, and if you haven't grown up with it, like your family brought you in and you grew up watching it with them, it's hard to kind of maybe jump in from the outside. But when you have that, and like it's an excuse to hang out, and I talk to my mom every Sunday when the Browns are playing, you know, I text her and we, you know, bitch about how do they call that play and, you know, whatever. But it gives you a reason to connect with people who maybe the rest of the year you're not really paying that much attention to. So I think that's pretty cool. Other than that, it's football. It's fun. I mean,
It's American pastime.
it's America's
pastime.
It's a little bit
than
violent. It's
baseball.
exciting. It's hard hitting, right? There's action. There's also plenty of downtime so you can go pee. It's got everything you want.
Those are all my favorite things.
So many spaces for commercials because there's so many start stops. I mean,
love
it's really
commercials.
America's game.
And unfortunately, we should note, while we were recording this episode, it did break. In Jacksonville, there is the Madden National Tournaments right now, a video game tournament specifically for Madden football, Madden 19, that is unfortunately undergoing a shooting at the moment. We do not know if the shooter's been caught, how many casualties there are. Our thoughts and prayers, of course, go out to those people.
Yeah, you know, we don't get political on here, but we know this is a loss of life. It's a tragedy, and, you know, our thoughts and prayers are going out to them. A moment of kind of somber reflection on this, but
Definitely.
it's all we can do.
But we can leave it hoping we're all going to have a great season, a great fantasy season, and a great year of football.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank our guests, Cole and Jacob, for chatting football
Thanks
with
for
us.
Thanks for
us.
coming
Thank
in,
you.
guys. We're happy to have you.
No problem.
Appreciate it, bad boys.
Yeah, and I just want to thank everybody that's been listening. Thanks for sticking with us all this time, writing in. We've been getting some emails and some suggestions. I'll have more announcements on that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've got some episodes coming up that you guys catered specifically. We're very excited to do that. And of course, keep emailing us, NormiesLikeUs at gmail.com. Reach out to us on Twitter. Follow our Instagram as well. This has been me, Colin.
Joe.
Mike, and that's all, normies.
Football!
Football.
Bless 'em.
Football.
Bless 'em.
Football.
Pizza.
Best buddies.
I'm not ready for football anymore. 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 Ready for football anymore.